or twice. All right. Hey, good evening, everyone. We'll be right back after this commercial. How cool is that introduction, isn't it?
I love that. I think those are so fun, and I know I got to get one.
Yeah, it's only $17. $17. That's it. Fever app. That Fever.
Yeah,
yeah. Hey, good evening, everybody. Dave Wilson, Results Staffing. I'm here with Larissa Haynes again. Now, Greater Boston area. The reason that I always like to ask Larissa on the phone, video, is because I need therapy sometimes. So if you really need therapy, I always message her. It's like, you know what? I gotta read this because she really puts out some great content. And Larissa, you do. You know, I always tell you that. And every time I see your post, I read it. I'm like, that's me. That's me. You know. So what I want to talk about tonight, first of all, I love that picture.
I know, isn't that great? And it's so that type, right? That those words and who that is. That's that person.
It is. It's right there. So,
hey, Tuvia.
Hey, Tuvia. All right. So tonight's subject. All right. I love the way you do this. Now, I'm just going to ask you some questions, what you wrote, and you get to explain it. All right. So
in the hot seat.
You're in a hot seat. So the first, you have two personalities here. One, it says, do you tend to take bluntness personally? Mm-hmm. It's completely understandable, but what if it's just someone, how they prefer, or prefer the same kind of directness back?
Right.
Explain that.
So in breaking that, there was a poll that sort of leading up to that is, hey, which one of these four things are you? And then the top two I sort of broke down. And one of the top two is the type of person who just tends to be very blunt and direct, you know, says it like it is, get to the point. The other one is one of the types that can take that kind of personally. There's actually a third type that is very sensitive to direct communication. So that post was all about, we tend to have this like collective definition of good, right? Good versus bad.
Right.
And we think that, you know, being like relational in our conversation rather than transactional or blunt is better. And my point in this is saying that like your good and your bad come from your own perspective. So people that are direct and tend to be blunt actually really appreciate the same back.
Well, when you said the 27%, I'm going to call you on this one here. All right. So 27% respondents were fast-paced, skeptical, like to jump in, takes action. Yep. They might struggle to give up power, but they get results. So I was like, okay, do I fit that? But then you came out with, there's the confident risk takers who fear being taken advantage of and avoid vulnerability. And if you work with someone like this, here are 6 tips to help you work with them.
Right.
Take me through that.
So all of those things in there are describing that bucket. So it's in a 4 quadrant. Now, you know, this is LinkedIn, so I can only go so deep and so far. So if we actually gave you the assessment, there's a whole lot more to it. But most of us fall somewhere in one of those buckets. So if you are that sort of fast-paced, direct, results-driven, but fears losing control, fears being seen as vulnerable, having weaknesses, right? That's all in that same typing, if you will. So if you know someone who's like that, the 6 tips are for you if you're not built like that.
Right.
How to work with them.
Well, I was trying to figure out which one am I? Because if you work with someone like this, how do you make sure their needs are being met?
Yeah.
So what is that? That's what made me curious there. What is that? My needs. What are my needs being met by when you say that?
So when you read those 6, was there any of those 6 that resonated with you where you're like, yeah, I really like when people do that for me?
Yeah, I jump in, take action, I struggle up with power, I get results, and I'm a confidence taker and I'm a complainer too.
Yeah. So you fit that bucket. Now, of those 6 that were on the picture, right?
Right.
Was there one of those that when people do that for you, you're like, God, thank you for just getting to the point? Or
well, if I had to put that, I'd have to say focus on the topic at hand, because I go all over the pace. I go all over. I wish I would slow down on the fast pace. So I think I'm more fast paced than a skeptical, or I believe, because I need to slow down. I have to slow down.
I would probably, so the other one, great question, Tuvia. I think Enneagram's great. I think it's, it's a very hot tool right now. And I absolutely believe in the wings. I don't.
What is that?
So in Enneagram, like with all of these assessments, right? And it's, yeah, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here, but many of them, like so Enneagram, you get a number, right? DISC, you get letters. And in Enneagram, the wings are, so I'm a 3 and I have, a whatever and a whatever wing, which means there are other numbers that also can describe me, even though I have a primary.
So it's breaking it down. They break it down to numbers now. Like what?
Yeah, I mean, and it's so.
I know. So he's good at Tuvia is good at this stuff.
Know, like, me and my sciencey nerd friends, that are like, I'm applying.
All right, the nerd junkie.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm applying to a PhD program for this particular thing, and there's the science and there's the marketing. Okay. What's up? So
I'm lost, but you might as well explain it to me.
I know.
Thanks, Tuvia. Thanks, Tuvia.
Sorry. With every behavioral assessment, it's a marketable tool, right? So whether it's predictive index, DISC, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, you name it, they're all going to have an identifier, because people like to say, oh, I'm a ENFP, or I'm a red, or I'm a 3, right? We kind of like that. Then the science behind it is you're not just that one thing, right? It's not about pigeonholing. There's a whole lot more that tells us about your predictive behaviors. And
is that like the test that you take, some of the personality test?
Yeah.
So is that what that is, or is this something different now?
Oh yeah, no, this is just another one of those. So Enneagram is sort of the hottest one right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm still lost on that. Thanks, Tuvia, because I have no freaking clue what that means.
So where we started, right? Though that whole series is actually based on baseline DISC, on the DISC assessment. So, yeah.
So who utilizes that information then? Or is that just for yourself?
Well, so that's part of what I do. So when I'm, whether it's one-on-one coaching or if I'm organizational or team, I'm a big believer in assessments. So I, give the assessments and then teach people how to read them, and then teach people to say, okay, here's who I am. Here's who you are. Let's look at how we can bridge the gap between us.
Wow. Because I'll tell you, like I told everybody, listen, the reason I like having Larissa on all the time is I need therapy. When I see some of her writings, I'm like, that is me. Which one am I? So I always ask her, come on the show, because I don't know who I am on this one now. Thanks, Tuvia. So what is the skeptical? I'm trying to figure on that part.
So in this one, it was just the 4, just a fun little, so you're either fast paced or moderate paced, right? So you either go really fast or you're kind of steady and consistent and even, or you're more accepting or skeptic. And
do you do this for the companies though? Or like when you're coaching somebody and you're talking with them, or?
Yeah, all of the above. So one-on-one coaching clients is, right out of the gate, I have about 6 assessments that I use, and we pick the right one for whatever their goals are. And we do 3 during a 6-month period. And then for organizations, so for teams, again, kind of depending what their needs are, whether we assess everybody and then have some group sessions to understand them.
Isn't that hard to tell them the truth? Or, I mean, do you No, all right. Well, I'm sorry, but because like you said, avoid. See, look, I get all worked up.
Yeah.
I swear, this is why, because avoid taking bluntness personally.
Yes.
So is that like saying you're going to say something bad to me, or you're going to, or how I react?
So there are a lot of people that are just built to take, so they take blunt communication as like, oh my gosh, they don't like me, or they see them as rude, or that guy's a jerk, right? So there's this, because of how they're wired and built, they receive bluntness as there's something wrong with it. Right.
Right.
So
but how does the person come to you though? So if they're coming to you, like, look at me, I'm crazy. All right, everybody, listen. The reason I'm wearing this black cap,
I love it. Yeah.
because I'm wearing this cap because I told everybody. So let me put that out there, everybody. The reason I have this on, I fell off the river, fell off a cliff, stones, breaks, everything on my head. So, but I'll put that out there. But I just don't. I'm still trying to figure out, like, when you go in, you just talk with somebody and then you just tell them what they are, or
oh gosh, no. So this is it's online, so it's an assessment. We don't call it. Okay. You can't fail it, so it's not a test. It's a series of, and I've worked with a number of different tools, and there are slight differences, but anyway, you go through a series of questions, you answer it, and then it comes out with a report. The one thing that I really advocate for is don't just take the report. I'm a huge fan of, there are people that are well-trained in this. I'm one, there's lots of other people out there who can help you decipher it as it relates to you, as it relates to your team and your work, right? All of it. Because people are more complex than just this one thing. But from an organizational or team standpoint, one of the biggest things that it does to help is it gives everybody a baseline language. So I'll come in and, with PI, I would come in, I was a master trainer for predictive index, and I would go in and teach people PI so that that's what they would talk. I do the same thing with DISC now. So they can say, hey, I prefer this when we're working. Like, I'm someone who works really quickly. I have a sense of urgency. I can get really sharp when I'm like that. I see now that doesn't motivate you. You're someone who takes it really evenly and calmly, and you need to be free of that stress and pressure.
So do you take it from like a company's culture point? Like if a company's saying, dude, this is a culture that we want, is that how that rates? Like, this is what they want being taught, how their culture is, right?
Yeah. So that's part of it. So when we're doing deliberate culture, hey. When a company says, hey, this is who we want to be as a culture, and there's a lot more to it, but so we'll come in and assess the company to see behaviorally who are you. So then it spits out some data of like data perspective. This is how you are built as an organization. So whether you're going to be a culture fit or a culture add, right? So do you want people that fit into your culture? Or do you want people to add to your culture to balance you out?
I knew he was going to do that. I knew he was going to do that because I've heard all these color things when people ask you what kind of fruit do you want to be, or what kind of animal, and I knew he was going there. All right, trivia. But what is one of the other sayings here I read is about avoid suggesting unrealistically positive suggestions. Why? I'm still confused on that one.
Okay. So this is why I wouldn't actually put you in this bucket.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to do that. I know you're not in that bucket.
All right.
So people who are squarely in that bucket, over optimism, they know isn't real. It's not realistic, right? So there are certain people who just happen to be like, yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to do this great thing. Like it's that over wonderful, over promise. To these people, they see that coming a mile away and they're like, I'm not buying what you're selling. Quit it. Yeah.
And is that in sales or is that within a group?
No, that's literally, it could be like, where do you want to go to dinner? It could be in your marriage. It could be anywhere. Yeah.
Well, when I was going through I have two more questions for you. So these are ones that you didn't know I was going to ask you.
Okay.
All right. By looking at that picture, all right, here we go. If you find yourself a struggling friend, do your best not to bypass the problematic emotion in exchange for positivity. Talk to me there. Talk to me.
Yeah. So that was all about toxic positivity. And this was one where like yesterday was World Mental Health Day. And I am a very strong advocate for mental well-being.
Right.
And really taking care of yourself. And one of the things that's been happening, it's really kind of popped up around 2008 was when it was the last economic downturn.
Right.
So toxic positivity or like positivity bypassing is when there's something that's going on and we're like, don't worry, be happy. It's all going to be great. Just put on a smile. Just think positive thoughts. It's, what that's doing is actually isolating you, making it's almost invalidating the fact that you're going through some stuff,
Right.
And
wow, that's me. Oh, geez.
Yeah. And it is so common and such a habit for people to automatically go to that, like, oh, like the pendulum just swings to the other side of positivity. Like that's going to make it better.
And then it says, allow people to feel the feels and allow yourself to feel the feels. That right there, I was like, okay, so I guess you can feel the same way as your client does, right? Is that what that means?
Right. And it's like in that moment, if a friend of yours is going through something, we naturally kind of want to push them through. Yes, we want them to feel better, but we also want us to feel better too, right?
Well, that's the thing, because when you read it like that, and then it said, take the time to sit with the process rather than bypass it and avoid it or numbness. So that means don't overlook it.
It's basically don't jump from, I lost my job, I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage, this is putting a massive strain on me and my mental well-being, to I'm just going to think positively. There's optimism and there's toxic positivity, and they are not, like, resilient optimism is a beautiful thing to develop, but
no, that's right. Yeah. I'm looking there. I'm like, okay, you know what? I was looking at Tuvia and I was waiting for you to say, what do you say and put out in the universe is what comes back to you. Okay.
Yeah. But here's the deal. If you don't learn to process all, and like we have this like obsession with like calling some emotions good and some emotions bad. Like it's all like, if you've got to learn how to feel the entire full gamut of human experience, because you process it faster. And that's where I'm saying, optimism, right? Resilient optimism is, this freaking sucks. This is hard right now. I know, but I know it's not going to be like this forever. So I'm just going to let this be kind of sucky for a minute. And
that's my friggin' bucket right now.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of people out there. It's trivia. It's therapy.
Yeah.
Like the secret.
He knows I need it. He knows I need it. I swear. Because then you even said here, this is it, is words to me anymore. I don't know. It's just more powerful right now, because I look at the things, the way you've written it. And then it says, and even more, they prefer the same kind of directness back. So does that mean if I'm crazy or not crazy, you know what I mean, that person might want that type of behavior back?
So jumping back to, those people that are fast-paced and skeptical. So if I am built like that and I'm direct, and when you come back at me super direct, I'm like, done. Like, you're my people, there's this immediate respect in there. Don't send me an email with the like, hey, great to see you at the barbecue. Oh, by the way, can I get that report? It's like, just get it done. What do you need?
Just get it done when needs. All right. Well, that wasn't too bad, was it?
Oh,
I was sitting there
harder than you are.
I know. And then just so everybody knows, Larissa's the only one when you want to print out for LinkedIn. This is why trees. I'm going to save this one though. I'm going to save it now. But but if you want to tell everybody what you do, Larissa, again, and then we're going to wrap it up. And you're in the Boston area, right?
Yes, I live on Cape Cod, but I service well, actually, I service everywhere, but I'm in the Boston area.
Okay.
And I am an executive coach and I do leadership development consulting. And it's really all about kind of what we're talking about here. So my focus is to have people deeply understand who they are, how they're wired, give them the structure and language to be able to share that with other people. And what happens in there, and this is like, you know, it's all about human efficiency. Honestly, it's very efficient.
Yeah, because I like how you say allow. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because then you said, oh, about the money. It's about the money. It's all about making the money. Where was that? Oh, culture is buyer. Oh, where was it? I know it was on your something.
That's in my about. Yeah.
All right, I know I'll find it, but it was in there about at the end of the day, it's about making money. So, you know, but no, I appreciate you coming on and giving me therapy because see, I get it for free.
Yeah, just to be clear, I am not a therapist. I do diagnostic. This is what I do is help people understand themselves to have better conversations about themselves and develop, you know, a really deep level of emotional intelligence.
Do you have one more? While I was thinking that is when you go into clients and stuff like that with companies, do they like to have groups of it or is it individual?
So when I go to companies, it's groups.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of times what'll happen, I have some like CEOs that I work with individually or C-level that come and find me. That's really kind of the only one-on-one that I won't say that if you need, you know, we can talk, but when I work with companies, I work with teams. So I'll come in and each separate team I'll work with. And then as a company, I'll work with the leaders of each of those teams to say, okay, here's where your silos are not working, right? Here's how, you know, client success and sales, you guys have a massive breakdown and here's how it's impacting your clients. Here's where you're losing money because your teams are passing things off poorly.
And that's why I liked about the part about, see, I'm smart here. No, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get this one because you said, oh, long story short, by putting people first, you make more money.
Yeah.
That was it. That was more relative than just saying money was there. So you can make more money because like you said, by doing all these things, efficiencies, cut expenses, increase revenue, and by putting people first.
Yeah.
You know?
When you put your people first, you create better systems, you create better processes, you create better client experience. Your branding is easier because your people are your brand, you know, and then by extension, your clients are your brand. So I love business. I grew up in a small family business. I have been, you know, I don't have kids. I have baby businesses. You know?
and no, I like this because it really, you don't see a lot of this anymore. Years ago, I always wanted to say back in the day, you know, we had people come in and actually talk to us and you'd be like, uh-oh. But that was the training then. Now it's more, you know, as the time goes on now, I don't think they do it as much as they should because I like listening to a person. When you're sitting in a group and you're talking with somebody, it's a lot different than just doing a video and sitting there and you're watching a webinar on yourself and you're still working. Mm-hmm.
It's not the same.
It's not.
It really isn't. And I mean, I love in person just because there is a power that happens in person, but obviously right now we're not doing that. And there's still really great impact. Actually, what I've seen since COVID is, you know, I've been doing virtual trainings for 5-6 years now anyway,
right?
But they've changed because this is now a comfortable space for people. So people are actually doing that more and having a different caliber of conversation that would often happen in person now virtually. But but you still have to have like live conversation with a person who understands this and can guide you through it.
It does. See how I'm calm, nice and calm now, nice and calm. See, that's what it's about, you know, but it is. And I want to thank you, you know, again, I can't, you know, I know it's 8:00 or 8:30 on a Sunday night, but you know, everybody's in that work mode. They're ready to go to work on Monday.
It's the Sunday Scaries, man. I know. As soon as I get my LinkedIn Live, I want to do a show at this time called the Sunday Scaries and just have people come on and be like, let's talk. What's, you know, like what's up?
15 minutes. I'm back. 15 minutes. I'm back on, and I just want to just go crazy on some HR spots and what they're doing for staffing. So I'm ready. This has calmed me down before I do it. So, but thanks a lot so much, Larissa. Thanks everybody. Tuvia, thanks, and God, we had Tuvia and. Tim was there, and I know I saw Bob up there too. So thanks everybody, and we'll be seeing you very soon. And we're going to end it. There we go.